Yo guys, Theo here on Common Sense. Not quite sure what I'm gonna title this video yet, because I think if I call it something like how to reduce social anxiety, a lot of people will feel like not clicking, because that's not something people like to identify with. It, oh, I don't have social anxiety. See, I'm comfortable being around people and talking to people. But the point of the video is going to be something like how to feel more comfortable in your skin, being in your energy, doing whatever the fuck you want that doesn't hurt anyone else, of course, without feeling any sort of like, no, I can't do this, I look strange doing this, or I'm weird, I will come across this way if I do this, you know. Because if you think about social anxiety, it's like, yeah, the most obvious form would be someone that's just kind of obviously like nervous and like a little quiet, or like acting a little weird around people. But technically, you could be someone that's like kind of extroverted, feel pretty comfortable just talking to people like that, but you have specific things that you feel like really uncomfortable about doing in public, and you feel like, oh, I can't do this, or no, I can't come across this way, right? While you could have someone that's kind of the opposite, that they feel that they're kind of awkward talking to people a lot of the time, but just doing certain things that would catch the eye in public, when they're doing it, just doing their thing, they don't really mind, right? So the point is that it comes in many different forms. And, well, it's just something I realized lately. Like, a client actually reminded me that one of the things that drew him into my content initially was that I exerted this sort of sense of freedom. That, you know, I'm just really just being me, doing my thing. I found a way that works, and I don't really give a shit what anyone else thinks about that. If I'm a little weird, a little strange, a little unusual, breaking the norms, right? And it's like something I've gotten so used to it, so I kind of forget it, right? And yeah, there was someone that commented on my dry fasting vlog video that how do you just pull off such stunts in public, like as a mildly anxious guy asking this, right? And I'll tell you this, that, you know, I've talked about that the last couple of months. I've not had the best period. I, you know, struggle a little bit, and I feel more insecure about myself and that. And so, yeah, there's gonna be certain things like I also feel like this, a little bit like, oh, gotta hide this, oh, I don't want to come across this way or something. But it's like, it's a baseline. You know, I'm all about realizing that we have different states of beings. We're not always at our best, and raising the lowest level, upping our baseline, like for what we're comfortable with in this instance, right? And so I thought, it occurred to me sometimes that even when I don't like feel great, I don't go around feeling like my super most confident self. It just occurs to me sometimes that, man, there really are lots of things that I just feel quite all right with doing that a lot of people clearly don't, right? So I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna get into the specific things you can do to feel more comfortable in your own skin at all times, right? But I'm gonna tell you that, as always, guys, progressive overload and consistency with it. The lessons from the gym, and in my case, the panic attacks I went through, right? That you have to push towards your current threshold, try to take steps beyond that, be consistent in doing that, and keep pushing when the threshold is getting higher, and suddenly you have that result, right? Like, I'm all about anti-fragility, and in this sense, because those are physical things like hormesis, training, right, fasting, cold exposure, sauna, but even anti-fragile as not feeling so fucking worried and insecure about what will people think. Oh, will I look strange doing this and that? But the same kind of thing applies to something like that, you know, that you just have to face the resistance training, right? But now it's an inner resistance, more of a mental, emotional resistance, right? And yeah, progressively overload from there, and then you'll get strong in that sense, right? So first of all, it's a very obvious example. I went through these panic attacks. That's of course, it wasn't just social anxiety, but effectively that's a huge thing. That it happens mostly around people, right? And what I had to do was not like find some magic trick for this. It's like, I just have to keep exposing myself to this until I teach my nervous system that these situations aren't really a threat. Nothing bad will actually come from it, until I didn't get panic attacks anymore. And so before we get into some more specific things, because I'm someone that decided that I want to feel more comfortable. You know, I don't want to feel limited in my way of going about life and expressing myself. So I've very actively put myself in situations where I'm uncomfortable so that I can get more comfortable later, right? But something I'll say, and I've talked about this before, I know, is that you can also gain like a larger like a general stronger sense of being comfortable with yourself that will pour into every other area, right? And of course, a major thing would be getting in good shape. If we're speaking about the thing, because if we think about things that I might do, that even just that I'm recording videos in public like this, like right now it's early, there's probably not that many people around, right? But sometimes, walking shirtless and just walking around people, these are definitely things people ask me about, like how do you kind of dare to do that? And of course, a thing like walking shirtless in public, whether you're recording a video or not, of course that's going to be generally easier if you have a fit body, But then of course, then there's other thing. Instead of being like, oh, I look like a fucking fat piece of shit here, it's more like, yeah, everyone is going to think that I'm showing off. There's always something to face. But the point is, I think we probably can all agree that if you're jacked, if you're fit, like, you probably have an easier time taking your shirt off in public, right? But so it's a thing like that. If you get in good shape, definitely that's a thing that will carry over. You will feel better about yourself and more secure in all areas of your life. It's not only because of how you look, though. It's also because of the regimen you've had to follow to get to that. You gain a sense of trust to yourself, right? That, I am consistent. I show up. I push my workouts hard. I prepare my diet. Like, I'm very intentional about what I eat. I don't just allow myself to do whatever. I've got my shit together. Like, you think highly of yourself in a very, positive way, not an arrogant way. And you're just gonna feel, like, I am someone, I got my shit together, I know what I'm doing, and then you're gonna doubt other things that you're doing less also. But so let me tell you that some things, I don't even remember the name of the video now, but I've been talking about these kinds of things for years. That there was one video, really old video, I don't remember the title of, where I took on a kind of a silly hat, and I was walking around in the area where I live. I wanted to go where there was people at that time. I was pretty much talking about that. I feel kind of weird doing this, like I would typically wear this hat. It's kind of a strange time to be wearing this hat. But yeah, just very nice here. But I'm doing this so that I will see that it doesn't really matter if I look a little weird. No harm will come to me, It's something like we all care. These huge societies and a social media factory, we feel so much that if I do something to differ from the norm, that people know, like, there's not even any direct, often don't know exactly what we fear. We just have a sense that if I do that bad, something bad, I will be an outcast, whatever, right? But so that was like just one example. But I would do things like when I was in the sauna, I would go outside. This is not the sauna in just a house, it's secluded like that. Like in this area again, and just sit outside, like, sweating in the middle of the winter, and have people walk by, and just face that little discomfort that, I know I'm drawing attention to myself now. But then you just keep doing these kinds of things. I'll say again that just the more things you do, like even a thing like, here's like kind of a combo. When I started doing the cold plunging in a lake here, right? Like, that's another thing that will just like make you feel like a beast, that you can pull the stuff off like that, and that you can handle it, So you're again, something that will pour into everything else that you do. And this is, again, I'm not huge on like all the physical health benefits of the cold plunge. It's more stuff like this, facing discomfort, stress resilience, and such. But so when you cold plunge in the middle of the winter, the worst part is often when you get out of the water, and after a while it's kind of like, because there are people around, right? And it's like, well, I don't really care if someone happens to see my dick for a few seconds, because I just need to fucking change the clothes, right? Like, because this is of course a big thing with like being naked in public, and kind of that's something you probably have too little social anxiety if you did that in the wrong situations. But really, because this is a thing, I should have said this earlier in the video, like, well, I kind of said it, right, that we of course don't want to just be fucking jackasses and doing things that really bother people or somehow in public. But anything that isn't that, why should we have to care about that? We just shouldn't, but clearly we do, so we have to face it and overcome it. But so that's a thing, you just realize that what it's not like I'm trying to expose myself to people here. It's like just because of some like, oh no, what if someone sees my penis, you know? Well, and so therefore I have to stand like freezing and put a towel on and stuff. When I can just like, if I can quickly throw off the bathing suit and pull on the pants, right? So I'm literally freezing my nuts off. Why can't I do this? You know, I shouldn't feel any big bother of doing a thing like this, right? But you can take everything, like the walking around shirtless, which I do as much as I can in the summer, doing a video or not. It's like I still will be aware that people are gonna look, they are gonna think, oh, see that guy, he thinks he's so fucking jacked, you gotta show off now, you know, projections from some fat fuck. But you know, I've done it enough that I can't be bothered by it. Again, I'm not hurting anyone by doing that. Same thing, I recorded videos, like I could be distracted if people come around, because you're like, oh, are they gonna walk inside, you know? But I don't really care about it I don't feel insecure about it, but it's just because I've done it so much. Like when I started doing it, I always tried, like of course many times it just makes sense to try if I can take a route to walk where I know there will be less people. Of course it makes sense, but I would very actively try to do that at the start. And but I knew in my head that I don't want to feel like I can't do this, because I like this format, you know. So what did I have to do? I just had to do it more and more, and be okay with new and new situations where there might be more and more people around, until I don't really care much if people happen to be around, as long as they don't come right up to my face, right, when I record. Now, like I said earlier in the video, it's all about consistency, progressive overload, and the way we can see it also is like, just like if you want a complete physique, of course you're gonna have to have a program that addresses all muscle groups equally, right? Like in the same way, I talk about some baseline things you could get in good shape, get your shit together, have a good routine, so you just have a lot of trust in yourself, right? And you can't really take any sort of, like, I don't know, criticism or that anyone would think something about it, because you know within you, like, I'm a fucking beast, I'm a badass, I got my shit together. But of course, this is why I'm giving you a few different examples of some things that, to like, the more complete our level of comfort, you know, at all times, we have to take on different things. So I guess a last thing I can say that really goes for, like, specifically social anxiety too, is that, you know, I'm naturally quite an extroverted person, but I've been more insecure before, and I felt like, you know, I never talked much to people in public, and I felt like I used to blame other people for that, like, oh, people here in Sweden, Stockholm, they're so uptight, they're so shy, timid, you know, which there is some truth to. I think as a people we are quite like that. But the thing is, like, you have got to be the change you want to see, and you're often projecting, like, because clearly what I've started, the point is that, well, I just actively started doing that more, right? Like in a you know, buying food, in the gym, whatever, just take little places to comment on things or say, strike up the smallest conversation in different places, you know. And I went out of my way, because this is what, you know, if you're kind of naturally extroverted, maybe if I'm like feeling great, it comes quite naturally to say, how are you doing today, you know. But I kind of chose actively to do those things when I didn't feel my best, my most confident and secure in myself, you know, because I just felt like that will bring higher quality to my life, that I don't feel like I'm going around with people like this, but I can kind of connect here and there, right? And that's just up to my base. First of all, there's a thing that's made it so in many places I go, I just can expect to have a little nice interaction with another human being. But also, I just don't feel like, if I had to talk to people, if I had to ask for help or something, it's like, you know, I feel more comfortable doing a thing like that. Now I feel like I see a lot of people coming here, and I feel like I've talked a bit longer than I wanted in this video. But of course, these are things, like, you have to program it, like you program training. Like, if I feel in these situations insecure this way, how can I, right at the moment, push through my current threshold? Can I, you know, a friend of mine, he brought it up on the podcast, Henrik, that if you have anxiety, you know, decide this, I'm going to pet the cat, I'm going to greet the neighbor as I pet the cat, or whatever, you know, like, implement some kind of little system. And this is, at times I do this with clients on my elite program, you know, this kind of thing, like how can we improve your level of security in this kind of way? You come up with little actionable steps for them specifically in their circumstance, of course. But yeah, I'll end this video here, guys. I hope it was helpful. Love to see you like and comment, because this is sort of a start. It could go many ways, different ways on these topics, so I'll be interested to see your comments. I do holistic bodybuilding coaching, getting jacked and stacked mentally, physically, spiritually, becoming that person that is jacked, not only looks jacked, but just is jacked, fucking beast. Is bulletproof, doesn't give a shit, because they are the shit, okay? So if you are interested, you can send me a DM or email me, DM on Instagram, it's in the description below. I'll get back to you by different programs. My training book, also linked in the description below. Everything you need in order to become a self-reliant, jacked and stacked individual. And please subscribe for more content about fitness, fasting, losing weight, building muscle, self-improvement, stoicism, mental health, philosophy, spirituality, mindset. It's a mindset, guys. A growth mindset. Like, whatever you want to be better at, you just have to face. Okay, peace.